If you own a car or motorcycle, you may have heard these two terms before: water-cooled engine and air-cooled engine. But what do they really mean, and which one is better? Today, we will explain this in a simple way so anyone can understand. Let's start with the water-cooled engine, which is also called a liquid-cooled engine. What is a water-cooled engine? In a water-cooled engine, the engine does not cool itself by air. Instead, it uses a special liquid called coolant. This coolant is a mixture of water and antifreeze. A water pump moves this liquid through small passages inside the engine. As the engine gets hot, the coolant absorbs the heat and carries it to the radiator. In the radiator, air passes through thin metal fins and cools the liquid. Then the cooled liquid goes back into the engine and the cycle repeats again and again. This system keeps the engine at a very stable and safe temperature. Advantages of water-cooled engines. The biggest advantage is perfect temperature control. The engine never gets too hot or too cold. Because the temperature stays stable, the engine gives better performance and better fuel average. These engines are also quieter because there are no big cooling fans blowing air directly on the engine. They also produce less pollution and usually last longer because the parts do not overheat. That is why almost all modern cars use water-cooled engines. Disadvantages of water-cooled engines: the system is more complex. It has a radiator, pipes, pump, coolant tank, and hoses. It is also heavier and more expensive. It needs regular maintenance, like checking coolant level, changing coolant, and checking pipes for leaks. If the cooling system fails, the engine can overheat badly. What is an air-cooled or fan-cooled engine? An air-cooled engine does not use any water or coolant. Instead, the engine has metal fins on its outside surface. A fan or natural airflow blows air over these fins, and the heat goes away into the air. This system is very simple and was very common in old cars and motorcycles. Advantages of air-cooled engines: the design is simple. There is no radiator, no water pump, no coolant, and no pipes. It is lighter and cheaper to make. There's less maintenance because there is no coolant to change or hoses to check. This system is good for small vehicles, bikes, and off-road machines where simplicity matters. Disadvantages of air-cooled engines: cooling is not very precise. If the weather is very hot or the vehicle is stuck in traffic, the engine can overheat. Performance changes with outside temperature and speed. These engines are usually noisier. They also produce more pollution and generally do not last as long as water-cooled engines under heavy use. Which one is better? For modern cars and performance vehicles, water-cooled engines are clearly better. They give better power, better fuel efficiency, better engine life, and better control of temperature. Air-cooled engines are only better for simple machines, like old classic cars such as the VW Beetle, small motorcycles, or basic utility vehicles. In today's traffic, hot weather, and long driving conditions, air-cooled engines struggle a lot. That is why you almost never see them in modern cars anymore. Final conclusion: if you want reliability, performance, comfort, and long engine life, water-cooled engines are the best choice. If you want simple, cheap, and low maintenance for a small or old-style vehicle, air-cooled engines can still work. But for most people today, water-cooled engines are the clear winner.